Welcome to episode 9. The flood was never about water. This is the story of Noah and the reset of human consciousness. So, there's times in life where we begin to feel something breaking down around us, even if nobody wants to admit it yet. There's a cultural shift. Things that once felt wrong or out of place slowly begin to become normal. People become more disconnected and reactive, and more distracted and just consumed by either survival or appetites. And over time, it stops feeling like isolated problems and starts feeling like an entire pattern is taking hold. So most people know the story of Noah as a story about destruction and survival. But underneath that surface is something much deeper. And this isn't simply about rain and a giant boat. It's about what happens when corruption becomes woven into human life itself, and what it means to preserve something healthy in the middle of collapse. And this isn't just a story about God destroying the world with water. It's a story about humanity losing alignment and the need to carry wisdom and hope through all of that chaos without losing them. So here's the story. By the time Noah appears in Genesis, the fracture that began earlier in humanity's story is spread everywhere. The text says the earth was filled with violence, and the Hebrew translation points towards corruption and injustice and destruction spreading through every layer of society. It's not describing isolated evil acts. It's describing a civilization losing connection with what made it human. Then the story says Noah was righteous in his generation. The Hebrew idea here isn't perfection, it's alignment. Noah is presented as someone who remained connected, someone who remained grounded while everything around him drifted into chaos. And then comes the flood itself. In ancient thought, water was often a symbol of chaos and disorder. And earlier in Genesis, God brings order out of the deep water during creation. So here, the waters return again, almost like creation itself is collapsing backwards into chaos. That makes the ark story so much more important. It isn't just transportation, it becomes a vessel of preservation, moving through that collapse. And inside of it are living things, the continuity and the possibility of renewal carried safely through the destruction and the chaos. And the story also becomes surprisingly honest after the flood. Noah survives, and he steps into the new world and immediately shows human weakness again. The flood didn't magically perfect humanity. The deeper struggle inside people remained. And this matters because the flood story still reflects something deeply human. Every generation faces moments where fear, greed, and violence, where disconnection begins shaping the culture around them. And when those patterns become normal long enough, people stop recognizing how far they've drifted. Noah's remembered because he preserved something valuable through the chaos. He carried life forward without becoming consumed by the collapse around him. And maybe that's part of the deeper message. The ark isn't just about a boat. It represents the human ability to carry conscience, to carry wisdom, to carry compassion and truth safely through periods of confusion and darkness and destruction. This was never just a story about rain falling from the sky. It was a story about collapse, about survival, and preserving what still carries life when everything around you feels unstable. The waters rose, the old world broke apart, but something carried through. And maybe that's why this story still matters now. Because every generation eventually faces its own flood in one form or another. The real question is what we choose to carry safely through the storm. God bless, and one love, y'all.